Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Makes 12.
Hi, today we're making porchetta roast. We have a very large Italian neighborhood in my town, and this is very popular. We're going to make the spice rub first. That's a tablespoon of fennel seeds. Then you're going to add half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of dill seed, about a teaspoon of pepper to taste, about a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed chili peppers, then about a teaspoon of lemon pepper, and then about a teaspoon of kosher salt. And if you have a mortar and pestle to crush this with, this is what I recommend you use. I don't have one, so I'm kind of doing the MacGyver thing here by crushing it by putting it in a Ziploc bag and just pounding it with the flat side of a meat mallet. You just want to crush the seeds just so that they release a lot of the flavor, but you want a lot of whole seeds left there as well. So this is what you're going to end up with. This is the spice rub. There are some whole seeds left in there, but there are many that have been crushed. Now this is the pork roast that I used. It's a shoulder blade roast. It's boneless. And just to give you an idea what we pay here for pork, $7.66. I'm going to say that's about 2 pounds or so. Now, what I like to do with mine is take some whole cloves of garlic and just push them into the meat. There are spaces that are naturally formed by the way that they made the roast, or you may have to take a knife and just cut some slits into the pork roast and then add the garlic cloves in there. It adds a really nice flavor to the meat while it's cooking. And then you're going to put the spice rub on, but I realized at this point that I forgot to do one step, which is I usually like to coat the roast with a little bit of olive oil. It just makes the spices stick better to it. So I'm just going to rub the roast with a little bit of olive oil and then continue to add the spice rub. And just going to put some of the spice rub on all sides of the roast. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is very popular here. In fact, there are some places that have something called porchetta bingo, where people play bingo and you win a porchetta sandwich as part of your prize. So here we go. You put that in a roasting pan and sprinkle any more of the spices you have left over top because you don't want to waste a single piece. Now what I like to do is I like to cook mine with potatoes and carrots. So I'm putting potatoes in fairly large chunks and carrots as well in fairly large chunks. I'm also going to add some thyme sprigs because I happen to have some in my garden, but you can use dried thyme as well. And I'm also going to add about 1.5 cups of chicken stock or chicken broth in the bottom because I just like to have lots of juice in the bottom. My husband and son really like it, but that's up to you. You don't have to put quite as much, but put a little bit of water or chicken broth in the bottom. You're going to bake this at 325 degrees for about an hour and a half until the internal temperature reaches 160 degrees. This smells absolutely unbelievably good in the oven when it's baking. I mean, it's really, really good. I cook mine probably for 2 to 2.5 because I like it to be really tender. There's a reason this is so popular. It's fantastic. It's a great recipe, and I think you should give it a try. Porchetta roast.